start streaming. Woo. Now let's see if we're actually, okay, well, screw the scheduled time of the stream. Oh, man. Oh, that's it. Okay, that was a horrible place to put the episode 2. Yeah, hold on. Let me just make some adjustments. Just make some adjustments and such. That blocks the sign. Because I realized last time we didn't have an episode number, so I'm like, let's put an episode number, and so, boom, there. It'll move from the bottom in a second in the stream because there is a bit of a lag. There we go. Because Forrest here doesn't have a drawn OC in the setting, I just put a picture that he gave me in PM of his OC. So you're just like a disembodied head.
As per usual.
I mean, the OC we draw for you in the realm of Fallout Equestria will, it will look like that. It'll just be an Applejack's Ranger, I think is what we agreed on.
Yep.
Anyways, welcome to the second episode of the Rad Meter podcast, the haphazard production podcast of Nuclear Horseman Studios that never seems to really be well planned or organized before it happens. Like 1 or 2 days ago, I'm like, hey, is you available Monday? Let's do this thing Monday. Anyways, unlike last time, I actually brought a drink to not start hacking up a lung during the stream.
Yeah, you should always be prepared for that. I always hack up a lung.
You only have 2 of them. You can only do that twice.
So you think.
I mean, I guess within the context of Fallout Equestria, people can do that multiple times.
True enough.
Especially with if you count Project Horizon's canon with all the with the clone characters you can make with Project Chimera and stuff.
That is true.
Hack up a lung, get it filled with chlorine gas, just replace it.
Easy peasy.
Make a soulless clone of yourself and then needlessly slaughter it for your vanity.
That's all you need.
So, as the title of this podcast episode would note, we released episode 1 of the Storyteller series. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I would include a link, but you're on our channel. You should be able to go find it. The post has also been doing incredibly well on the Fallout Equestria subreddit. I'm like, it was a kind of a last minute, oh yeah, I should probably share this here, and then boom, it's like, up. Okay, cool, I got an email, and you guys all heard that sound. Because the way I have this set up is the sound my computer would put out to a speaker is being wired back through the microphone jack.
Oh.
And then I have a headphone splitter that allows me to actually hear what's going on. Anyways, so episode 1, The Great War, was written before the prologue, which the prologue is also a thing that was released way too long in advance to the first episode. So basically, I was how I came up with the idea for this series. I don't know if I told this last podcast. It was a month or so ago. I was a huge fan of Shoddycast's Storyteller series, as obvious by the fact that the bona fide version now exists. It is inspired by Shoddycast, which unfortunately, it's just a side tangent because I go on these a lot. Shoddycast has recently changed ownership to one of the former contributors of Shoddycast now owning the channel. He's the guy who also does The Science over on Game Theory. and he said in his like state of the channel like video that he was temporarily ending the lore series project, which I was like, oh really? That's like the one reason I subscribed to Shoddycast. But he did say that when it does come back, it'll be on its own channel, which I can see how that would probably do better for it. But unfortunately, the storyteller like movie that they had promised is not gonna happen.
That sucks.
But anyways, so I was just trying to find, I wanted to do something more in the Fallout Equestria universe, and I was watching a lot of Corp productions, and I'm like, what if I adapted the Storyteller series to Fallout Equestria? Because if you think about the lore, which unfortunately the wiki is a little lacking because it's fan created, and so some of the pages need major updates, or if they do get updated, it'll be like spoiler city, so everything will be hidden behind a spoiler wall or whatever. Which on the wiki just makes it like highlighted in white, and so you have to actually highlight the text to actually read it. So it just would get annoying if the wiki was actually accurate. So it would spoil too much. So I'm like, what could I do? Like, okay, I'll make the Storyteller series. Okay, at the time I think you were working on the unscrewed audio files. My fic that is more or less a transcript for an audio thing. It's funny how technically that would go against FimFiction's terms of services. Please don't report the story. Anyways, and so I was like, okay, I was already in contact with you. I don't know if it was before you started the series or you were just thinking about it. I'm like, hey, would you like to be this like titular character, the Storyteller, in this audio drama that I'm working on, even though I had nothing written at the time? And you said yes. I'm like, yeah, I don't have to get up the nerve to ask anybody else. Because I am a socially awkward person, and even just like asking you about a project that hadn't even really been started was like, should I do this or should I wait?
Well, honestly, like, I was super excited when you asked me that because I was a huge fan of Shoddycast's series. So I was like, I get to potentially play the quote-unquote bona fide version of the narrator. Count me in.
Yeah, and so then I wrote the first episode, which has been subtly revised since that first version. But for the most part, I think I only really added like a brief little digression into what the pink cloud is, because the way the Storyteller would go, if he mentioned like a more comprehensive topic, he'll briefly describe what it is. And so like I mentioned a little thing about the pink cloud, and I've expanded a little bit about the excuse me, the drink that I decided to have is sparkling water, so sure, my throat's now hydrated, but now I'm burping. Anyways, probably should share out the link to everyone again. I shared it out like a few minutes before broadcasting, but I don't know if it's the same link when we started broadcasting.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to double check.
I mean, cause I think when it shows up differently when I shared a link of a current broadcast versus a link of a soon to be broadcast.
Yeah.
So I'll just keep talking, I guess, while I do this. Anyway, so I wrote the first episode, and I planned out the characters, like who would be the main like group of individuals, because Shardycast's thing, it's not just the Storyteller, at least for most of it. I mean, a lot of it is him just wandering the way. So then when the background plot involving a clone of the very first Fallout main character happens, it starts bringing on other characters who occasionally do narrate episodes, like the NCR Ranger and that Wastelander guy who's like the son of a character you apparently kill in Fallout 1 or 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, I need a group of individuals to try to figure out. So then I figured out, okay, well, I'd have another Applejack's Ranger scribe, and maybe she'd be the one who builds the robot. And so I'm like, okay, well, what am I gonna name the robot? I can't go with Edna. That would be too much of a copy of the Storyteller series.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm thinking of acronyms, and nothing is working. So I'm like, okay, what do I want? Like, what would be a similar to an actual name acronym I can go with? So I ended up with WNDA, which I guess I'll go into more detail when that character robot thing shows up. But but that doesn't really roll off the tongue. So we're going with Wanda. Just add an A that isn't actually there between the W and the N, and you get Wanda. I couldn't think of an acronym that included a second A. I'm like, dang it! I guess I'm gonna have to just have an excuse to call this character Wanda, despite it not actually being Wanda. And I'm like, okay, I need another. Well, I don't just need another character, but I wanted like a third pony character. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's go with a ghoul. So I have a ghoul chef, which he doesn't come in until like episode like 10 or 11, and Scribble doesn't show up until like episode 9. So there's a fair bit of time where we're just establishing the storyteller and not his companions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wrote the first episode. Back to what I was saying. I wrote the first episode, in his first draft at least, and just kind of sat on it for a bit. I'm like, I have Forrest on board. I know what I just actually managed to accumulate enough lore to actually from memory, without even like re-listening to the Fallout Equestria story. But then I decided to re-listen to the Fallout Equestria story. It definitely helped with writing the future episodes. Oh, I forgot about certain various parts of the lore. It's not like there's a whole shit ton of it or anything. I do know, I have listened to like Fallout Equestria and Project Horizons multiple times at this point, so I do know the lore pretty damn well, but I still forget little tidbits here and there. And so, then I'm like, okay, I wrote like the first couple episodes, and I assembled the team, which we went over for way too long last podcast, who's on that team, which, speaking of that team, a new person was recently added. I paid $1 to East Corp to get into their chat, and I was just talking about my series, and Cinder Script, one of the VAs from their series, who's also a really huge fan of lore and stuff like that. Me and I started talking to them, and I'm like, hey, would you like the lore? Would you like to write? And he's like, I'm not really a big into writing, like, but I can correct like story and tone and pacing, and like, I probably could use someone who can help with the story in that respect. So because the current person who corrects my lore, he only reads the scripts and makes sure all the facts are correct. He could care less, or at least says he wants to not really be too much of an influence on the story itself. He would leave that to me, but then if I write a shitty story, sure, there's good lore, but it's a shitty story, so I want to make sure that the story is actually good, which, when I originally created the story, like, it is kind of a bit of a convoluted thing. I'm hoping it works out. I might be changing some of it. I don't know. The first antagonist of the series, which, yes, apparently a series all about lore, will have an antagonist.
Yes.
Is not gonna. I don't think I've created a very good antagonist, but I guess we'll see what happens when I actually reveal who they are. Not gonna say who it is. I think I may have said it in the last podcast, but who's gonna go through a 2-hour podcast to find me saying that? No one. That's who, except for me, because I do occasionally listen to 2-hour podcasts. So I wrote the first episode, and I had, I think I even, you were planning to go off to your army training, so I'm like, oh great, I gotta get these to you just in case you're gone for an extended period of time. So I sent you like the first like 6 scripts in their original like unedited form. So that's why you have a lot, especially for episode 1, had a few. Okay, can you re-record this section and this section because I changed the script because I realized the storyteller was talking to a filly, and as much as cool as it sounded to say the situation was further exacerbated by a hostage crisis off the coast of the Zebralands, a little kid isn't going to understand the word exacerbate, which is a synonym to aggravated, but it's just like, I like using big words, basically. I'm like, I'm gonna make it a smaller word that means the same thing. In case my excitement, high-pitched voice there made it sound I said something inappropriate, I said exacerbated. For those with your mind in the gutter and thought I said something else.
Cough.
But yeah, so and there was also adding, like, I mentioned the elements of harmony, but then I didn't list what attributes each one was. Like, oh great, now I gotta add the list of that. And so I did honesty, generosity, whatever. By now, people watching this know the elements of harmony. I don't need to list them.
Let's hope they know. Or else, what are you doing here?
True. I mean, I probably will have an episode at some point in the future on the elements of harmony, how they exist, at least in the Fallout Equestria universe. But it'll probably not be within the first volume. Because, like, there isn't even an officially, like, canon set of Wasteland elements. Like, I think within the original story, Velvet Remedy is kindness, Calamity is loyalty, and Ditsy Do is laughter. And it's maybe hinted that Life Bloom is magic, despite the fact that his talent is learning and not necessarily magical skill. However, you come to Project Horizons and the epilogue, which I don't know, it makes too much things hard, fast, set into the timeline of things. In some cases, because like it jumps ahead 200 years and like says like, well, and it kind of like establishes, okay, this is how the Wasteland is coming back to civilization. Anyone who wants to include Project Horizons canon in their story now has to, if they're going to set it at this time period, this is how things are set up, and if they're going to set it before it, it has to lead to this being a thing, which is kind of here or there. But one of the things it did establish that was kind of confusing, and spoiler alert for those who haven't read Project Horizons, it's a long story, I understand. Apparently, Whisper, aka Psycho Shy, the daughter of Golden Blood and Fluttershy, is the element of magic.
Huh.
It's kind of like explained like they thought they found the element of magic in an alicorn, but that alicorn still had some crazy delusion left over from the goddess that was gonna use Gardens of Equestria to further poison the wasteland instead of cleanse it. And so in an effort to stop that crazy alicorn, somehow Whisper was deemed worthy of the element of magic despite being a Pegasus.
Huh.
Okay, that only really leaves the element of generosity unaccounted for, I think. Which,
yeah, weird.
Which again, within the context of Project Horizons, Blackjack does consider both Bottle Cap and Charity as possible wasteland versions of generosity. Which Charity, who runs the Crusaders store, Charities Where We Ain't, is totally worthy of the elements of generosity. It's funny that like her name is Charity and she's not very charitable.
Yeah, I know. When I read that, it was like, oh, I want to punch her in the face, but she's a child. I can't do that.
Charities Where We Ain't. which I do have the plans for the story of the storyteller to head to Hoofington, probably somewhere in Volume 2, if we ever get there. There is 20 planned episodes, originally 22, but I cut the holiday specials. The holiday specials were going to be they were going to kind of be a departure from the way the normal episodes run. They'd be like an anthology setup where there'd be 3 mini, like, stories based around, like, Nightmare Nights or Hearthwarming or whatever. And it was a cool idea, but especially because we released the first episode in October. Excuse me. I don't know, it didn't really seem like, I don't know, it didn't seem like I should try to rush a Halloween special also in October.
Yeah, true.
I might have been able to get a Christmas special in the first volume, and I'm going with volumes for seasons instead of seasons because I feel like it. So, because we do sort of want to plan to have one release every single month, and we have 20 episodes, originally 22 again. I think starting in October, I planned it out. If we do one per month, then come next year, once we get like into the habit of like getting these episodes out in a timely manner, kind of thing, we might be able to get 2 episodes done in a month and do a regular release next October, as well as a Halloween release, and a regular release next December, as well as a Christmas release. No promises. But there's some interesting ideas. Like I would explore the idea of the hedgeling filly from one of my from the sequel to Unscrewed. I'd kind of cover that legend that I created from nowhere. And an interesting idea called, like, I guess hashtag spoilers, whatever. Called I think it was like one of the anthology things was going to be message repeats. It would kind of be like a interesting idea where like a certain section of the wasteland is very spooky in general, where allegedly there was some settlement that just vanished without a trace, kind of thing. And if you travel through that region and you turn your radio on, for some reason the only radio message you'd pick up is one of those repeating messages. But what was eerie about it was the message, though repeating, would change, eventually leading the doomed traveler to be what the next doomed traveler hears in the first message repeats. It was kind of spooky. I wasn't sure how I would end up writing that one, but hopefully someone doesn't steal my idea now. I forget what the third one was, and it was like an anthology of like 3 little mini stories, kind of told around a campfire. Actually, it was Puppet Pony. Okay, the third one was gonna be a ponification of the whole Puppet Man thing from like Vault. I think what was that? Vault 77, I think. One man and a bunch of puppets, so one pony and a bunch of puppets, and he goes kind of like insane, and then goes around beating raiders up with his bare hooves, and it's the only thing that raiders fear, kind of thing. And it was the funny part is there's actually some raider characters that are gonna be introduced in episode 2, that are gonna be somewhat recurring characters, and it was gonna be one of them would be telling this story. And then they'd be called out for that being a raider a scary story, and none of them are raiders. Only for them to go, yeah, totally, not no raiders here. We just found the story interesting.
Yep, definitely, that's it.
Cause there's this group of 3 raider characters that are voiced by me, and a few other of the members of the crew, and such that I want to be recurring, but I don't know if I'll be able to work them into the scripts in the future. Cool if they could be, but probably won't be. I've gone on way too many tangents. We were talking about the road to episode 1, weren't we?
Yeah.
That's basically what this podcast is going to be, especially because I like to hear myself talk, apparently. I can be self-aware. So, I wrote the first. So then I didn't. I think your role was the only role besides the person voicing Megaspell, our mascot, that I didn't do an audition for. I just like, you have the role.
Take it, please.
I mean, I guess if I had to choose like a possible second person, like, if you had said no, I would have like maybe tried to contact, I don't know, equestrian narrator, see if he would be willing to do it. But you were definitely my first choice.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
As I should.
I did say in the last podcast I could listen to you read the phone book, so.
True that.
You have a nice narrator voice. It's great. Anyways, so then I'm like, okay, I need to kind of establish this like existence of this character and where in the timeline of Fallout Equestria is taking place. I chose 3 years after Little Pip because that's before, I think, the canonical 5 years after when Gardens of Equestria actually goes off. But it's also soon enough after the Day of Sunshine and Rainbows for there to be a sort of enough of a recurring celebration for DJ Pone 3 to say this happens in this place in celebration or in mourning or remembrance of this day, but like it to not be a completely organized kind of event. And also it helps establish exactly what time of year I guess it is. So I wrote the prologue. It kind of introduces like certain happenings in the wasteland, which like that Junction Town has a food festival because that'll be an element I mention when I bring up the ghoul character El Dante. He is a chef living in Junction Town. Maybe he's preparing for the food festival, and that's when he joins the motley crew of characters. And I mentioned that there's like a candlelight vigil at both Navarro for anyone who is flying and Steelhoof's Shack for anyone who still hates the former Enclave location or is grounded. And there's obviously a gala at Ten Pony Tower because they're Ten Pony Tower. And I also get to throw in a line about Krigglepop, the junior assistant to DJ Pone 3, aka Homage's assistant and possible future DJ Pone 3. It's like I get to establish these things in the prologue, and I get to introduce briefly the storyteller saying I better get to Crossroads or yada yada yada, and then he walks away, and then it jumps to Stable 29 where he introduced to Scribe Scribble Jot, who is like, I think when I described the character it was to Cadet Redshirt, I'm like Fluttershy, but kind of more tomboyish. Because like she's like, when it comes to talking about anything robotics, like she is like a prodigy kind of character. She knows she's talking about when it comes to terminals, robotics, and all this kind of stuff because she built Wanda. It's a combination of like a sprite bot and a Mr. Handy or whatever, with the storage space of like a pip buck and like a terminal. Like it was a hodgepodge project she made apparently. There's gonna be an episode all about WNDA, so I really shouldn't be sharing too much about her. Yes, the robot I'm referring to as a her.
Did you just sexually identify that robot?
Well, sure.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, robots. It uses the her pronouns, but it doesn't really have a gender. It's a robot. Although the art does have a lot of pink on it, not to imply anything, but by the color pink, but.
But it's just pink. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I told Chalkfee it's a sprite bot, but heavier, so it needs to not only have the regular levitation talisman, but also one of those fire jet thingies that Mr. Handy's would have. It also has 2 arms with guns on it because it's been upgraded from the regular assortment of weapons that a Sprite Bot would have. It also needs to have the Applejack's Ranger like markings all over it, so it has like a bunch of red lines on it. In an early design, it actually had a faceplate with the Applejack's Ranger symbol on it. I'm like, that's a little too distracting. Anyway, so I wrote the and actually I originally wrote the prologue as a way to audition characters, because originally there was another part of the prologue that has now become the introduction of El Dante in his episode, Wasteland Cuisine, sometime eventually. I don't know. I could actually count how many months away it is, or I could say it's just happening sometime in Volume 1. Okay. So, anyways, there originally was like a scene involving El Dante, and I ran it past like the members of the crew at the time, and like, should I include this part, or is it like too random? And then the consensus was, don't include it. So I eventually cut casting El Dante. God damn this freaking bubbling water. So the only water I could find that was bottled, and I didn't feel like getting a glass of water because I'm not Lily Pete. I don't know. Anyways, random pun aside, and I couldn't find anything to drink, so I'm like, sparkling water, that'll be a great choice.
That's a good idea.
It's not, it doesn't even taste very good, but I'm stuck with it. Anyways, so I eventually ended up having to cut casting El Dante until the second casting call, because by the time the second casting call, I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I have this character for when it comes time for his episode. But anyways, there's still a bunch of uncast characters. Like I think I haven't officially made an announcement about it, but I'm still looking for someone for Kriggle Pop, which is or K-pop is an abbreviated name, because I needed an audio reference for him to possibly be DJ Pwn 3. K-pop, it's totally a thing that exists in My Little Pony, because it's K-pop is short for Korean pop music, and that totally exists in My Little Pony. Which is why I decided to create the nonsense word of Kriggle for his name, because it's kind of an onomatopoeia sort of sound, criggling or whatever. Like, okay, Kriggle Pop, nickname K-pop. And there's also, like, I also don't have someone playing Homage. I don't have someone playing. There's a lot of characters I don't have people playing yet. I really should do a third casting call.
Yeah, did you use Casting Call Club to do that?
I did not. What is that?
Oh, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a place where you cast people.
Well, I mean, I probably should have posted to r/like audio dramas or whatever for the casting call. I didn't. I also probably should have posted to r/ Followed Equestria, because when I posted the first episode, one of the comments I got is like, I really wanted to audition for this, but work and stuff got in the way. I'm like, well, don't fret. We're gonna have more casting calls in the future.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to the casting call.
Okay, later. Later, so I can set that up in the future and maybe get more of a response.
Yeah.
I think the first casting call was posted both to my original Pony channel and the Rift Cafe's Pony channel, but not Nuclear Horseman Studios channel, because it didn't exist at the time. Or I think it did, but I felt that it wouldn't no one would see it if I posted it there. And the second casting call was only posted to Nuclear Horseman Studios, but yeah. Although I'm upset that less people responded to the crew call that was also part of that. Like, I'm basically the only writer for this series. I mean, there was Ivory Jide who has less familiarity with like the greater Fallout Equestria universe, but he has read and is familiar with the original Fallout Equestria, but he's not really too familiar with like Project Horizons, Homelands, Heroes, Murky Number 7, and all that kind of stuff, which I just listed. Stop getting freaking... Got a freaking email again. I should just close the email app. That's the simplest solution, but like, I never get emails, and then suddenly I decide to do a podcast for a couple hours, and boom, I have a shit ton of emails. Anyways, where the fuck was I talking about? Stupid emails distracted me. I will figure out where I was in a second. Oh yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of characters I haven't cast, but I'm the only writer. There we go, that's where I was. And like I in the last casting call, I like either just right at the beginning or right at the end, I tacked on a crew call, but no one responded to it. I got no like I got people like auditioning for multiple roles actually. But I didn't get anybody who wanted to help write. So there was Ivory Jide as a writer, like I said, but he has school and is no longer able to actively put any time into writing. Like, I gave him 3 episodes to possibly write, and I ended up basically finishing 2 out of 3 of them for him. And I'm like...
Oh, life comes first.
Like, I don't want to be the only writer for this. I mean, I'm pretty into, like, Fallout lore and Fallout Equestria lore and making one into the other, like, creating lore in the Fallout Equestria universe based off of something in the Fallout universe, but I don't want to be the only writer. I was looking at the credits for the first episode, and it's like written by Comic Sans Pony, edited by Comic Sans Pony. It's like, how many times can I put my own username in the credits? Basically, is what it currently looks like. Which, speaking of those credits, I messed up a few times in them, and I'd already done, like, the closed captioning for the episode. I'm like, I'm not re-uploading this. The person who makes the music, the background music for the episodes, is Stable 2 Stallion, not the Stable 2 Stallion. Just to clarify.
Yeah, I saw that.
Also, somehow, not sure how I did this, but I credited Shoddycast as an inspiration, but didn't include Fallout Equestria, Project Horizons, or My Little Pony as based on under the based on section. How do I forget those? I don't know. Like, the 3 freaking main influences. Like it's like inspired by just the Shoddy Cast. I created the Fallout Equestria apparently because I didn't credit K-Cat.
Oops.
I mean, it's obvious based on what the series is that there is My Little Pony influence and Fallout Equestria influence in the series. That's obvious, but still, I should have credited some. I will in the future, and I am terribly sorry. It's like, I uploaded, like, anybody point out any issues so I can fix them, and then I started working on the closed captioning for the episode, and then when someone points out an error, I'm like, I'm not gonna fix it. Also, I didn't leave enough time at the end of the episode for, like, an end screen kind of thing. End cards. You need, like, 10 seconds at the end of the video to do that. Oops.
Yeah, true.
It's like I'm, like, trying to credit people, like, in, like, the last, like, 5 seconds of the video. with links to their channels and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, well. You learn from experience.
Yep, that is true.
So yeah, back to the road to getting the first episode up. I thought I would release the first episode sometime around BronyCon last year. Well, this year. Wait, yeah, this year.
Yeah, this year.
In fact, I even thought about submitting I think I did submit a panel for BronyCon and they denied me. To be fair, at the time, we were like a complete unknown.
Yeah, that's true.
But around the time of Horses at Home Con, I was supposed to release the prologue, but that ended up being postponed by like a few months. Mainly because I was just too lazy to edit. Actually, like I feel bad that was the reason that was postponed. And maybe there's a few other voice acting issues with that one. I forget. I needed to cast all the people and then get their lines in, and I wasn't like too organized at the time. But then finally we got that out like in May when it was supposed to like go out like in March. And then I thought out, June, July, August. Okay, I would release the first episode in August if I got a panel at BronyCon. I didn't get a panel at BronyCon. Okay, I'll still release it around BronyCon. Oh, we're deciding to create original background music for it, and that'll take a couple months to do. Okay, I guess we're postponing it. Because I didn't want to rush Stable 2 Stallion, especially because when I did contact him, he was in the middle of working on another project. He said he was interested. He's made a lot of great Fallout Equestria inspired music. He has a criminally low subscriber count. You should go to his channel and subscribe.
Yeah, you should. It's really good.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't want to rush you because I have in the past been a bit overbearing towards various creative people who are working on project with me. So I'm like, I try to like take your time. You establish the timeline for the thing. So I'm not like, I'll make like a due date, but like I don't want to like step on your toes too much. I don't want to like have a shitty product because I'm like, get it done. But at the same time, I was kind of worried that it wouldn't get done in time. He assured me he'd get it done by October, and then boom, just before October happened, he shared like the first like work in progress version of it. He was gonna do some minor edits to it, and Requiem for the Wasteland, or I mean, I had a few titles in mind. It was either like Requiem for Equestria, and I think I just settled on Requiem for the Wasteland, which I don't know if that actually works out in like what Requiem actually is supposed to like mean. It's kind of like remembrance, so maybe Requiem for Equestria would have worked better, but too late now. But yeah, okay, so basically, another setback that was that we had to get past for the first episode was originally I wanted something like an animatic style. I wouldn't go for full animated because the Fallout Equestria fandom tried that once and it didn't work out. R.I.P. Stabletech Studios animated series. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna go with like the animatic pseudo animated style of the analysis community's videos, like where characters slide across the screen instead of trotting because they're too lazy to make walk cycles. Namely myself. I'm calling out myself too. I don't have a walk cycle for my OC. Some people actually do have walk cycles, like Lightning Bliss and Brawny Buck and all this kind of stuff, but I'm too lazy to have a walk cycle, so the characters in this series wouldn't have a walk cycle had we gone with the animatic style. However, Chalk Fee, even to his own admission, couldn't really make the poses that I wanted. He's better at making like poses that are set at the 1/4 like angle that are great for like analysis videos, basically. Like they'd be a great OC for analysis videos. If we wanted to make analysis videos on Fallout Equestria, we could have hosted by the storyteller. We have poses for that. But it wasn't like facing the right way to make it actually look like characters were talking to each other. And so I talked with Chalkfee and we agreed, okay, we're gonna cut visuals entirely from the project. It would save me a boatload of cash, because I was paying him for the art, and I still did pay him for what he made, even though we didn't end up using it. It's all posted to our DeviantArt if you want to see it or use it.
Shameless self-promotion.
It's funny, we have a DeviantArt for Nuclear Horseman Studios, and pretty much everything we post is made by someone else. At least, like, I mean, I credit them, and I paid the person, so it's not like I'm, like, stealing their artwork, but it's just, like, I wish I was a talented enough artist to make stuff, but I'm not.
Me as well.
And so, anyways, so what we decided is we're gonna cut back production from visuals because, I mean, it's an audio drama. You can just listen to it without even, like, looking at a picture. You should be doing a good enough job at keeping you entertained without needing visuals. So we ended up going with what we ended up releasing, which is kind of like basically like if you have a program like, damn it, fucking sparkling water. If you had like an audiobook in, like, say from like Audible or a podcast from iTunes, kind of how playing that would look. You have like an album artwork kind of thing, a title, and an episode setup. However, I went the extra mile and made it look like a terminal screen. So that was kind of cool. I couldn't make it's still missing a few elements that would definitely cement it as like a terminal screen, like the low high tech that's supposed to exist in like the Fallout universe, kind of like high tech in some stages but low tech. The transistor was never invented, so everything's vacuum tubes and nuclear power. So like I looked at a lot of other like Fallout and Fallout Equestria stuff that involve like screens, like pip bucks and terminals, and there's this like screen refresh that happens, like a slightly brighter portion of the screen scrolls down the screen every now and then, and I just, for the life of me, could not figure out how to do that. It was everyone else who probably does that probably did it in After Effects, and I'm here with Final Cut X trying to figure this thing out. So if anybody knows how to use After Effects and wants to join our team, let me know.
Please.
Cause especially like I'm also currently the only editor. I mean, I know Forrest knows how to edit audio, so maybe if you want, you could also be an editor. For some parts, you do make your own sound effects, right?
Sometimes.
Okay, so
they're pretty easy to make at-home sound effects, then yes, but nothing crazy.
So maybe for the Ditsy Do episode, you mentioned something about making like accurate chalkboard sounds, like where you would actually write out what was going to be said on the chalkboard, so it sounds like she's actually writing the right amount. Did you say?
Kind of, yeah. For the most part, I could do that, but I don't have a chalkboard, so that's the problem.
Maybe she found a whiteboard, just a bunch of squeaky sounds.
That's about right.
I mean, just to subtly reference that script for the Ditsy Do episode, just because we're talking about it, I guess. And there's definitely going to be a lot more chalkboard sounds than I actually put into the script, because you can only fit so much words on a chalkboard.
That's true.
So I might have to break up the person reading Ditsy's lines more than I already have. Anyways, random behind the scenes note aside about something that this podcast is not supposed to be about. So I don't know. I went through various schedules for release, and I think the best I found was one per month, I don't know if that'll actually be a steadfast rule. It would be nice to have one per month. Steady.
Yeah, don't go promising something you may not be able to keep.
Like it's like a steady amount of content, so we have, and with the possibility of in the future somehow making it weekly, which would end up being 4 a month. we would need like an editing team for that to work out.
Yeah.
Like, I could not be the only editor. I have a life, not very much of one, but I have a life. When I'm not working on pony stuff, I'm working at a gas station. So I have a life. I'm also starting an HVAC course soon, so I will have even less of a life. For Bachelors of Science and Film, couldn't get a job in that field, so I'm going into something more practical. HVAC. So anyways, what was I gonna talk? Okay, I guess I've finished talking about episode 1. It's gotten a pretty good response. All the comments are like, "I love this. Please make more." Like, I'm always so nervous when I'm like releasing something, even like it's just my reviews on my pony channel. Like, are people gonna like this? Is it even gonna be good? Like. Shout out to Chalkfee and Ivory Jide, who, like, I just, like, sometimes will go into, like, PM on Discord with them, and, like, I'm freaking out that everyone's gonna hate this, they're not gonna like it. And, like, it'll be fine, it'll be great, you got this, and, like, if it weren't for them, this project would probably never have been made. They, managed to quell my anxiety about it enough to actually post it. Which, back to the whole thing I mentioned a while ago, like an hour ago at this point. I can ramble a lot, can I? That I paid $1 to East Corp to be in their chat, and so in their chat they have a thing for Echo Chamber, which is basically their, like, share your work and get feedback on it. Why they call it the Echo Chamber, I don't know why. And so I wasn't sure if the audio drama counted towards the kind of content they wanted posted there, since the description was, like, for writers to get feedback on their work. And I technically wrote it, so I guess it counts. And I thought I would post it. Maybe some people who are on the server as other, like, Patreon supporters, they'd see it, they'd give me some feedback. But no, actually, just, like, James Vermont and, like, Skybolt, like, checked it out. I'm like, okay, that happened.
Oh, no.
James apparently, he liked it. He has thoughts on it, but he hasn't chosen to share them with me yet. Maybe he forgot about it. He said he would share them later, and then I guess he forgot about it. It's not important. I need some constructive criticism. I want to make sure that I can improve the content going forward. Like, maybe he had suggestions for audio editing, or suggestions for visual editing, or something like that, even though I'm not I haven't taken the Patreon perk that actually affords me East Corp's time on that manner, because there actually is a perk on their Patreon for, like, getting assistance on your audio drama. So maybe since I don't have, I can't afford to take that perk currently, I'm not getting the feedback from them that it would be nice to have, because they've been making audio dramas for, like, 4 years at this point. They definitely have some good advice. I wish I could afford to have, like, them consult on this project. It would be fantastic. It's probably not gonna happen. Oh, hello. Okay, Chalkfee, sure, right. Award, reward, Patreon award, perk, whatever. You know what I meant. But anyways, so another interesting thing is, like, Skybolt, I don't want to hold him to anything because I don't even know if, like, it may have been like a spur of the moment thing. I don't want to hold him to anything, but he said that, like, if I need any voice actors or cameos, I'm like, okay, well, we already have a DJ Pwn 3. Sorry, Skybolt. DJ Strike is a DJ Pwn 3 that can rival Skybolt, in my opinion. Yeah, let's have a DJ Pwn 3 off. Who can do a better DJ Pwn 3? Ready, set, go. You know, Chakvi, if you're back from classes, you could join the podcast. Anyways, well, obviously he's talking in the chat. He's back from his classes.
Or he's sitting texting underneath his desk, looking up at the class like, I'm listening. Uh-huh.
I mean, probably. That's true. He could be doing that. And we're fine, Chakvi. We're fantastic even. Anyway, so back to what Skybolt said. It's like I could probably, like, say, I mean, if you could spare the homage voice actor, I really need an homage, homage, whatever the pronunciation of it is. But, like, on the topic of cameos, though, from, like, of East Corp characters, I'm like, it would all depend on who survives until 3 years post Little Pip. That's a lot. Since Skybolt is very not forthcoming about what era that that Confessions takes place in, I can't know for sure what characters survive until my series present, because he doesn't want to reveal that. It is established that East Corp's, like, Confessions of a Wasteland Pony, he has said that it is essentially a prequel to Fallout Equestria. It definitely takes place before Little Pip, but how far before Little Pip is not really revealed.
Okay.
So, and I mean, but then again, there's so many characters within, like, Confessions and Terminal Secrets and all kind of stuff that are throughout the entirety of the Fallout timeline that it might be possible to maybe have the storyteller meet Dr. Green Shift. It might be possible for them to meet Pink Pippin or other fan favorite characters. It might be. I make no promises. It would be really cool. I do personally count East Corp's canon as the canon I use for the storyteller, so it would be cool. But again, don't hold me to anything, cause
I never do.
Cause Senpai Skybolt, Senpai Skybolt and Senpai James Vermont haven't officially confirmed anything. I'm using Senpai not seriously, in case anyone was worried. Okay. Seriously though, Chalkfee, you can join the cast if you want. Hold on, I'd have to go and change the picture that I show. If you're home from school, join the cast.
The more people, the merrier.
Come on, Art Bun Bun, join the cast.
Do it. There we go.
There he is. Bun Bun? No?
Might just be plugging in his mic.
Now I gotta change the image of those. Oh man, now it's not gonna show the disembodied head of of Forrest. Because if I go back to what we used for the first episode, there wasn't a picture of Forrest there.
That's fine. I'm used to not having a face anyway.
There, now Art Bun Bun is, wait. Have we been doing the entire podcast and they couldn't hear me?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, is he saying he can't hear us? Like, he can't hear, like, his Discord might not be working?
I don't know. Maybe right-click him, maybe muted him or something.
Maybe. Let me see that. Well, I'm not seeing him as muted in any way, shape, or form. Try restarting your Discord, Bun Bun. Or go into your settings and deal with your Bun Bun, just go into your settings and deal with your microphone. Maybe you need to deal with it that way. I'm gonna now find where I put the picture of Mr. Storyteller VA over there. Spacing Forrest there. Forrest. How did I forget your name for a second? That was weird. Okay, come on. I know it's in this folder somewhere. Why is everything so disorganized? Definitely had to have it on my computer in order for me to put it into the image in Photoshop. I guess we can move on to talk about the trip, which you did hold up your end of the bargain. If I finished the story, you would record it, and so you did.
Yep, that was the deal. And it was super fun to record and edit.
There, now your disembodied head is back. Bun Bun really needs to finish your in-universe art. He left the pod. Actually, I guess he's restarting his Discord or something. So yeah, the trip. So that was sitting in my Google Docs, just collecting dust. Like, it was an interesting idea. It was inspired by Gamma Decay's Forsaken, I think. Like, kind of those cyclical stories that continually go in like a circle, like it keeps repeating.
Yeah, that's why I really wanted to record it, because I remember recording his Forsaken story and doing the same thing. It was really fun.
So basically what I had to do is I had to make it 1,000 words. It at the time wasn't, because you have to have 1,000 words to post into FimFiction. And then I went into the Fallout writers chat. I'm like, I need people to revise this, give me suggestions. And so they did, although initially I had sky carriages be more like cars. And I'm like, I need to remove all references to cars. There's no windshield. There's no windshield, and also sky carriages are more common than ground carriages, so now they're in the sky being flown by someone else. Okay. And then for some reason a suggestion was to like make one bird bold to kind of add emphasis to it, and like so you put why is have bold? I'm like, it was a suggestion. I guess it adds more emphasis.
Yeah, no, that's true. I just like whenever I was trying to read it and was like, how do you do bolded words?
Well, if it was still italic, like meaning it was like internal monologue, it would just be more emphasis.
True that.
It's like, how long have I been sitting here? versus how long have I been sitting here. And actually, I do plan the trip. There's the character of Fig, and unfortunately the tragic death of Barry. Probably Barry Punch. No guarantees. I called her Barry. I think it was originally, the idea was it was Barry Punch because she got over her drinking problem. But I don't think it would work within the canon of other uses of Barry Punch throughout, like, Fallout Equestria, Project Horizons, Heroes, Pink Eyes, that kind of thing. Anyways, but I definitely I'm currently writing another Fallout Equestria fic that's a sequel to the current one, Icarus, and I do have plans possibly for the main character of that one to stumble upon a apartment with a lot of empty dash inhalers and a single Earth Pony skeleton looking out the window. So
damn,
it's like might make reference to the trip, because I did put in the description of that one that it is canon to my other fics but has no bearing on the plot of any of them. Because it takes place, like, right when the apocalypse happened, pretty much. I think the coolest part about that one is, it doesn't necessarily make you question whether it's real or fake. You definitely know eventually it is, like, him replaying the events in his mind. Like, there's no secret there. But what was cool is that there wasn't a scene break between him taking the puff of Dash and flashing back to that morning. It's like it was the same scene continue, because he takes a puff, boom, heavy full box of Dash inhalers just dropped on the table, which was kind of cool. And also, the only reason that one was posted to EQD was because Confessions of a Wasteland Pony recently dropped, and so they shared a post. Unlike the first episode of Storyteller, which has yet to be posted to EQD, despite me sending it in. They totally don't play favorites with the more popular series.
They do have a reason for it.
I mean, I was looking at the most, like, in the nightly roundup that they recently posted, I saw several chapters of the current audiobook you're making in the nightly roundup, like back to back to back to back, and back when you were releasing... What?
I wasn't notified of that.
And then
was that the old ones or new ones?
It was a bunch of chapters of your current one. I don't know how old they were exactly, but also back when you were doing Unscrewed, they would occasionally post 2 episodes in the nightly roundup or 2 episodes in a collection of Fallout Equestria stuff. Like, maybe because The Great War was a relatively short audio drama, they might be waiting for us to drop episode 2 and 3 before they actually make a post about it. Which, because I'm kind of like, they do play favorites sometimes on EQD, but like I've also, and I know I pay attention to these things. Like I make sure that I'm up to date on all the similar content producers on YouTube, such as Corp and PAPS and all that kind of stuff. Like, and following like EQD, seeing what's being posted and all this kind of stuff. So, and also like when Wasteland Survival Guide, one of the other Corp productions, they don't get a solo post for each individual episode. They'll get a post about 2 or 3. So maybe it is length. That was an issue. That was kind of working against us. They didn't want to make a single post for like a 7-minute episode when they could make a single post for 3 7-minute episodes or something like that.
That's true.
So, I don't know. I mean, sounds like I'm complaining about EQD, but
yeah, they have their ways of doing it. I don't know what the ways are, so I'm just gonna let it kind of happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely think we got more promotion from posting to Reddit than I ever thought we would, but it was cool. It's like, whoa, a post I made to Reddit is actually getting a lot of upvotes? I apparently have enough karma, despite being less than a month old Reddit account, to make my own subreddit. I don't think NHS needs a subreddit yet, but I can make one. I mean, Comic Sans Pony, my other Reddit account, could also make a subreddit now. Apparently, again, I don't think Comic Sans Pony needs a subreddit, but I could make one. I don't even know what I would do with a subreddit. Like, I know it's kind of like a thing that a lot of YouTubers have. They'll have their own subreddit, but it's basically a more public version of like a Discord server, if you really think about it.
Yeah, true.
I mean, less real-time interaction, but like a Discord server could have a promotion chat like I do. So like people who are part of the project can promote other stuff they've done. So.
And Art Bun Bun is still having troubles getting in here.
I don't know what to tell you, Art Bun Bun. Restart your computer. Restart Discord. See if there's an update you need to download to Discord. Make sure your mic is plugged in.
Make sure the white microwave isn't running.
Did you turn it off and on again? Are you entirely sure it's plugged in?
Did you try restarting Windows? Did you try deleting System 32?
Don't do that. I have a Mac, but I know for a fact that you should not delete that file. Oh, hello, Chainlink266. That could be the problem. Maybe because he's using a phone to call in. Did you try restarting your phone?
Using a phone? There's your problem.
Well, Discord for the phone, according to my friend who knows like programming, is basically they took the coding they had for the desktop app and just slapped it in. Ow, that hurt. I hit something. Just ow. Ow, that hurt. Why did I do that? Apparently they just slapped the coding for the desktop app into an app file and hoped it worked.
It sounds about accurate.
So now we actually have a person that isn't a member of Nuclear Horseman Studios in the chat. Hi. Hi, Chainlink266. Oh, no, sorry, 226. I can't read numbers. How are you today? Do you have any questions, comments, concerns, or something to talk about within the Follow the Question universe? Because I'm coming towards the end of what I had prepared to talk about. Oh, wait, actually, that's not true.
I lied.
I remembered I had other stuff. So, I was just browsing YouTube, and I may have been on the Nuclear Horseman Studios account. I may have... Oh, what exactly? Okay, what is this exactly? This is... Well, this is... This is the... I can't speak today. This is the production podcast for Nuclear Horseman Studios. Currently, we are discussing the fact that episode 1 of our series, The Storyteller, a Fallout Equestria lore series, has dropped. And anything else that comes to mind, I tend to ramble and jump from topic to topic. So, if you can follow along, I was about to mention that I came across a video from Stable Tech Studios, basically saying their whole like we're closing down and why kind of thing. But also they had a link to a Google Docs containing all of their assets they had made for the project for anybody who wants to continue the project. I was curious to see, like, oh, they might have some cool sound effects in there. So I downloaded it. Besides a bunch of Flash files, my computer wouldn't open because it doesn't run Flash very well. Not that the files were broken or anything like that. My computer just can't handle Flash. I have the program, it just can't handle it. And so I didn't find any sound effects, unfortunately. But I did find a rather interesting audio clip that I have many questions as to why this exists. Let me find it. I unfortunately don't have the file on my computer, so I gotta find it within the Discord chat that I posted it in the production side of the Discord. So sorry, Forrest, you didn't get to hear it back on 8/31/18. Wait, no, that was earlier than that. Where was it? I know it's here. Okay, no, we're not. That's when we're discussing another secret project that we're probably working on. Oh, it was the one. It was the file posted on 8/31/2018. So, it's called My Little Propane. I'm not sure why this was included among their assets for Stable Tech Studios, and I have several questions, but unfortunately, I'm probably not going to get any answers. So, I don't know if the volume of this will be too loud or not, but let me know.
My little propane, my little propane, my little propane. I used to wonder what propane could be. My little propane, until Strickland shared his magic with me. Cooking out tons of steak, a beautiful chair, faithful all day. Best in Texas at a reasonable fee, and propane makes it all complete. My little propane. Because if you buy charcoal, kick your ass.
And I realized after I started playing that Forrest couldn't hear it, so I probably should share it in the chat for him, so he can have a reaction to it. That currently did play for everyone listening to the podcast.
Okay, that's good at least. Probably just interrupted it halfway trying to like get your attention there. Like, what's going on? I can't hear anything.
Okay, hold on. Go into the podcast planning chat. I'm about to drop the link again.
Gotcha.
I don't want to empty my trash. I want to get to my desktop. There we go. My Little Propane. Okay, now take a few seconds to listen to that, Forrest.
Gotcha. This is already golden.
Oh, apparently you were not loud enough for us to actually interrupt that.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Because the way that the thing is set up, the audio from my computer is being, like I said, being fed from the audio out to the microphone in, and my computer is currently at full volume, so it was quite loud. You would have had been really loud to be heard over that.
Ah. All right.
And so I have just so many questions why A, that was recorded, B, why it was included in their project assets, and C, who was playing that guy from King of the Hill? Like, who was doing their impression? I really want to know. I'm not. It may have been Skybolt. It may have been someone else from Stable Tech. It was really weird.
Oh man.
Chainlink, we are not affiliated with Stable Tech. Unlike East Corp, we didn't break off from Stable Tech and make our own company. However, like I said, Stable Tech released all of their project assets to the public in case someone wanted to pick up where they left off, which someone might have. I'm in a Fallout Equestria group on Facebook, and I saw someone post about the Ministry of Entertainment, so MOE, and they're making like a Fallout Equestria movie. I don't know if it's like a similar concept to the animated series or not, but well, Shane, I again, you joined like an hour into the podcast, so I just would like to point out that that technically East Corp is aware of our project. They have seen it and overall say it's good, but have some thoughts they have yet to share with me on them. If you listen to the last podcast, I have a lot of reasons, some of them more just anxiety based, that this is not an East Corp production. Like, they probably don't remember that one guy that like thought that like freaked out about possibly about them possibly stealing an idea. But also more recently Cinder Script, one of the VAs and huge fan of lore-based things from East Corp, has joined our team. It does not mean that we're part of East Corp. There's no like he had a non-compete contract and couldn't work with another Fallout Equestria group. I'm pretty sure that James Vermont also works with PABS, whatever, and East Corp. So we do have a member of East Corp also working with us, but we are separate from East Corp. And Chalkfee, you forgot to mention Coolman Stan and Ivory Guide. They do have channels, not very big or frequently published to channels, but they do have channels. We are also affiliated with the Rift Cafe unofficially. So I'm just gonna say that. No point in freaking typing it out. Just a few minutes of me going tap 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 when I can just say it. Originally, the entire production of Nuclear Horseman Studios was going to be just part of the Rift Cafe. I approached Looney, head of the Rift Cafe. Well, not really head at the time. I think he's not currently the head. Hey, I think he still runs the channel though. I have this Fallout Equestria audio drama. Would it be okay if I produced it and posted it to the Rift Cafe channel? He initially said yes. However, I decided later on that due to the mature content that Fallout Equestria tends to be, despite our video not really going much above a PG-13 at all, we're not like, because it's like explaining the lore, and it's supposed to be explaining the lore in a way that a mass audience could listen to it, not someone who is like 17 or older. So when I realized, okay, this is kind of a mature thing, I think it's a little too mature for the Rift Cafe, I'll make it its own channel, but I will, like, if you look on the our main channel, it does say that we're affiliated with the Rift Cafe. Whatever various connotations that could imply upon us, because if you like the Rift Cafe or don't like the Rift Cafe, being affiliated with them changes your opinion of us. And also, technically speaking, this channel is also owned by my not really main channel, I wish it was, of Aptly Unnamed Productions, but it's actually a bigger production than anything done on Aptly Unnamed Productions. And according to Chalkfee, whichever channel has the most subscribers is your main channel. So, as much as I want Aptly Unnamed Productions to be my main channel, currently Comic Sans Pony is my main channel. Although it might eventually be eclipsed by Nuclear Horseman Studios, because we did gain, like, I don't know, like 10 or 20 subscribers in a day from the first day we posted the first episode. So we got like 60 without having any content. So just
Wow.
so if it does keep growing and people find it interesting and want to support us, then eventually NHS might be my main channel, according to Chalkfee logic. But he's a silly bun, so... who still apparently can't join the call. Maybe I could end the call briefly, or move it over to, like, I don't know, Skype, see if maybe that helps. He says I'm not that silly. Who's a silly bun? Who's a silly bun? Who is you is Chalkfee. Actually, I really wish I'd done this before I started talking forever, but there's actually... I want to talk about the Pass You Cannot Run, which is the storyteller's theme. But, sorry, still there?
Yep.
Okay, you're just going, you did mention you would not talk that much, that I was warned. Anyways, so The Past You Cannot Run, which is written by me, Chalkfee, and Coolman Stan, who unfortunately couldn't make it here today. But it basically, when we went through the backstory I had written for the storyteller, which I could have sworn I shared a link with Forrest. I don't know if he's read it or not. It'll be a whole episode eventually, so where someone else exposits the storyteller's backstory. But basically, the song, The Past You Cannot Run, makes subtle references to the story of the storyteller. However, because of time constraints and such, we weren't able to make a complete version of the song that we wanted. There was some extra stuff that we harmony lines that didn't end up getting made, but they were supposed to be sung by me or someone with much more talent, but that never ended up happening. So just so Forrest isn't left out, I will drop the link into the podcast planning chat so he can actually listen along. However, the people listen to the podcast, they will be able to hear my totally shitty vocals as I try to remember the harmony lines that I had formerly written for this song. I can't guarantee I'll be in tune or anything, but hey. Just need to wait for it to finish loading into the podcast so Forrest can at least listen to it. But he won't be able to hear unless he doesn't listen to it, he won't be able to hear my awesome background stuff. Okay.
Separated at the crossroads,
Choices that we made
blamed it all on jealousy.
on jealousy.
I can't help but to feel
My true feelings.
it was all on me.
I'm the only one to blame.
He sent me on my mission.
Send me on my way.
I was told they had to
They
die,
were the enemy.
but after my soul was soaked in blood, I finally thought to ask why. Though rain may wash away the hoof steps that I take, it won't matter anyway. Won't cleanse me of my mistakes. My bad luck it has taken the man that I swore my love to, the daughter that I cared for, and so much, much more. I tried to escape it. This cross that I bear, but nothing ever leaves you. Even when you try not to care. Celestia's light above, and under Luna's moon. Sometimes I wish and hope that I will join them soon. Though rain may wash away the hoof steps that I take, it won't matter anyway. Won't cleanse me of my mistakes. Do me a favor, lighter of my life. I need to leave it all behind, all this strife. They call me a hero, my work's not yet done. Storyteller, the past you can't outrun, the past you can't outrun.
But unfortunately, due to time constraints, I could not end up making those background vocals or harmony vocals or whatever, and we couldn't find anybody who could, so we didn't.
Chainlink was asking you a question.
Okay. Unfortunately, our Discord is not public. It is a private Discord, which we might make pseudo-public via like a Patreon at some point in the future, but currently is not public. And wow, I missed a lot of chat while I was singing.
You could make like a separate Discord that's made for just like viewers, like casual viewers. So then they could, you could like post like, "Hey everyone, a new episode is up," and then everybody would be like, "Oh, sweet, let's watch it."
I mean, maybe. Or I could actually make that subreddit. That would be... I did mention the similarities to a subreddit and a public Discord.
True. But not everybody has Reddit, believe it or not.
Ah, man, I guess apparently the song was too loud and I was barely able to be heard. I ain't singing it again, so Screw it, we'll do it live. Basically, okay, I'll go to the lyrics and I will just speak. I will speak the various lines that you couldn't hear apparently over the loud ass music. This is what I get for having my computer at full volume, but what you hear from me not at full volume, because I would be yelling and you would hurt your ears. So.
Oh, Chainlink says he heard you.
Because the harmony lines were sung usually when there wasn't any other sound. Come on, where is the... There it is. The Pass You Can't Outrun. Link to the lyrics. Okay, separated at the crossroads due to the choices that we made, is what I said. Blamed it all on jealousy. On jealousy. Can't help but to feel, these are my true feelings. It was all on me. I'm the only one to blame. He sent me on my mission. Oh, he sent me on my way. I was told they had to die. They were the enemy. I think I forgot to sing this next line. But after my soul was soaked in blood, soaked down to my very core, finally thought to ask why. Then the chorus, I just sing wash away, I take, matter anyway, and my mistakes, along with the main singer. Then from verse 3, my bad luck has taken, I'm unlucky, can't you see? The mare that I swore my, and then we both say love to, or both say my love to, I'm not entirely sure. The daughter that I cared for, I miss her so very much, and so much, much more. Much, much more. I tried to escape it. I tried to leave. Originally, this line was the burden on my shoulders, but I guess burden was too many syllables, so he changed it to cross, which unfortunately gives it some religious imagery that we initially didn't want, but I guess, sure, let's throw some religious imagery into this. This cross that I bear, it's so heavy on my shoulders, but nothing ever leaves you. Nothing ever leaves you, even when you try not to care. Originally, there wasn't enough, musical break between that and the bridge for me to come up with a line to go after, even when you try not to care. So there isn't a harmony line for that one. Even though I think in the final version of the song, there was a space open for a harmony line there. Then on the bridge, I sing Celestia's Light Above and Under Luna's Moon along with the main singer. Sometimes I wish and hope. I'm saying wish, hope. And then I don't know if I sing that I will join them soon as a harmony line. It's kind of debatable there. Chorus, again, I sing the end 2 words of every line. And then the outro and or chorus 4, depending on how you look at it. Do me a favor. I don't say do me a favor, but I sing with the main singer along with when they say writer of my life. I need to leave it all behind, and then I sing with him all this strife. They call me a hero. I sing along with him again. My work's not yet done. I sing storyteller, and then I sing the final the past you can't outrun with the main singer. However, we no longer use the harmony lines, so public Discord would help with more on the non-stop notifications, and yes, not everyone uses Reddit. Both are good. Just stop, comic, stop. Well, I'm sorry. I wasn't currently looking at the chat when I was randomly reading through that. So, should we have a public Discord and the production Discord that's also a Patreon award, as well as a subreddit? Or
Yeah.
should we only have the public Discord and the subreddit? I mean, obviously the production Discord for production purposes, but not have any fans on that one.
That would also be a good idea. It could just be the Patreon reward could just be like you have access to a Patreon only chat in the Discord kind of thing. So like everybody can still join the Discord, so it's not locked out to people who just can't afford it kind of thing. So
Well, to be fair, I was gonna take a note from East Corp and make the join our production server one be a $1 perk, like who can't afford $1 kind of thing.
true enough, but there's also people that still need to save the money, right? And if they really like your thing, they also still want to keep up with it, right? So you got to think about both sides.
Yes, a lot of planning needs to go in. I mean, I guess I could just make our. You're right. I could make the production Discord. I could make that a public Discord with some private sections for actual production stuff. It would turn the what it would do, it would turn the general chat into like the chat that everyone would interact with. I might even make a second general chat just so we can kind of split the conversation if needed. Then I'll have a private like chat for just like the voice actors and stuff to chat, like so they don't have to always talk with like. I even made it. It's called the Green Room, but no one has any permissions to see this chat, so it's just it exists, but no one's in it currently except for me.
I would recommend doing a separate Discord, so you have two of them. So you have the public Discord, and then you do have the studio Discord for studio things, so you don't start clogging up the studio Discord with just
True.
right?
I mean, Cadet
Right,
Red.
keep it organized.
True. Cadet Redshirt already just has muted the production Discord and even suppressed at everyone's. And that's just from like being like the production Discord. That's not even accounting for added fans in the Discord.
Yeah. So and then later down the road, if you want to make it a Patreon reward, yeah, the dollar thing would be a good idea to put it into the production Discord. Maybe they can't, like, there's a general chat for all the patrons and whatnot, but most of the time it's just for us kind of thing to like post things. They can see what we post and whatnot, and they can talk about it in a general chat, but they can't type in the different places where we post things.
Okay,
So they can see what we post.
I mean,
They can listen to our lines, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but
like
they can't.
well, because the only thing I have to compare a similar studio setup to us is East Corp. So like, I am a huge fan of East Corp. Like, I probably would qualify as a fanboy of East Corp. I really should stop going into their Discord and just like talking nonstop about my productions before they kick me out. I do occasionally bring it up, like, but probably way too often. But anyways, and so from what I can see in their Discord, which again it costs $1 to get into that one, they have like they have the basic, and I don't know what their ruling behind like sharing what goes on in their Discord is, so I'll keep it vague. But they basically have an announcements chat that's just general announcements. They have a content update that is just them sharing the content they post. There's a bunch of general chats for talking about certain specialized subjects. Then there's a studio section, which I don't know why they made it so everyone can view the studio section, because you can't join those chats. So those are probably their behind the scenes chats. Not sure why you can see those. And then they have just a bunch of like fun leisure game things, a not safe for work section. Not entirely sure why they need that. And then like and then a bunch of like just general talking chats. So that's basically what I was going for. I'm in our Discord. I have a rules which just kind of outlines that like, be kind and don't share things from here without permission. Cough, Chalkfee, cough. Sorry, he shared out like like I'm certain like he shared out the main antagonist's look before I'd released the main character's looks onto Twitter, but I hadn't released like the picture I had him draw of the antagonist. But he released that anyways, so that's why I'm kind of jokingly needling him about that. But then I have an announcements, because I don't feel I need a content update and an announcements chat, but maybe I should. Then there's the general for just talking. The green room was going to be kind of a production crew and VA chat general, but without having the influence of other fans or whatever, just in case we wanted to get away for a little bit. Then promotion was for anyone to share their projects. And then I recently added a podcast link chat where I just share a link to the podcast every time we're doing them. And then there was a behind the scenes and sneak peek chat that was going to be kind of like, here's a 10-second promo of the next episode, or here's an early release of the episode that isn't public to everyone else, kind of thing.
Yeah, that would work.
And then podcast planning. Podcast planning is just for me trying to talk with everyone in the cast and crew who is available for the podcast. The general consensus is almost nobody. And then there's the in-universe chat, which is just a kind of fun little chat where we try to figure out how every member of not East Corp, damn it, Freudian slip. Every member of NHS came to be part of NHS, because we've kind of figured out I have a basic idea of the Applewood area, and Nuclear Horseman Studios, which is based out of the ruins of Warner Mares Studios, in Applewood, Equestria. And like I have this whole like backstory, like how Megaspell became a ghoul and all this kind of stuff, like and then I've worked in backstories of every single crew and cast member, their OCs, into this story, which may or may not ever be made into something. I have ideas of possibly making like a comic series about it, like kind of like a little bonus thing, maybe a Patreon reward, I don't know. That like share the in-universe story of NHS, kind of inspired by the fact that East Corp Productions has an in-universe East Corp that they slowly exposit lore about. However, I'm not sure if I'll ever be used in any project. Then there's a general. Then there's the Rad Meter call, which is what we're in now. A general talk call that is rarely ever used. Then there's the production side of the Discord, which has production announcements, which is basically me letting my crew know any like information that might not necessarily need to be known by the voice actors, such as like, oh, this is the release date I've planned for this or that, or oh, we have a panel or something like that. Then there's just a general chat for production crew, a chat for the writers, which is never used because I'm the only writer, as I previously said. A chat for the voice actors where I occasionally announce, hey, person playing this role, here's a script, get me your lines by this time. That's basically what that chat's for. An art chat, which is actually used because me and Chalkfy have been discussing a lot of art-based stuff. A music chat for me, Coolman, and Stable 2 Stallion. A relatively new chat that talks about possible merch ideas. I mean, it may just be like, oh, you want to make an NHS t-shirt for all of us to wear at conventions. It could be like actual merch we would sell. It's also where we're kind of discussing Patreon ideas, but again, in some respects, it's when you start a project, if you also start a Patreon, it can be a good idea. But in other respects, you want to actually show you can make this idea before you start a Patreon. That's why our Patreon is not public. I made that mistake with the D&D stream I was doing. I started a Patreon the same time I started the stream, and it just seemed like we were in it for the money. We're not. We're in it for the fun. And then there's a chat that I probably shouldn't let the lead voice actor know about. It's called Casting Decisions, where me and the rest of the crew talk shit about our cast. No, I was kidding.
That's reasonable.
No, it's basically whenever we do a casting call, it's an easy place to like say like, okay, I'm considering this person, and this person. What do you think? It's just like it probably could be something we discuss in the general production chat too. It's just I wanted to keep things separate. And then there's a production call chat that also is rarely used, and a person to person, like a single individual, like me talking to one other person production call chat that again is thankfully not used. I say thankfully because if that were used, it's probably me chewing out someone for doing something wrong. Or I need to just talk to my artist like in chat and don't want to be interrupted by anyone else. But that more often than not, if the production call P2P is ever used, it's probably me saying you done fucked up. So and I was thinking of having like half the server be pseudo public, meaning that it would be available via Patreon reward, not necessarily just open to the public.
Okay.
But I mean, I could. Oh, we lost like half our. I don't even think Chainlink is watching anymore. Anyways, so I mean, like, I've talked about more things than I thought I would talk about. From the production side of, I don't even think these podcasts will be. I don't think are these podcasts interesting. Am I interesting enough? Probably not.
Oh, 1 second. Chainlink wants me to say something, or one of us to. Skybolt has no nipples.
What?
That's what Chainlink wanted someone to say.
I wouldn't know.
Anyways, continue.
Wait, Anvil? Advil?
Anvil.
What is that?
I have no idea.
What is World Anvil? Oh, and Chuck, if you're wondering why you have a wrench next to your name, it's because I made you a moderator of my live streams for this channel, along with Coolman Stan and Ivory Jide, and my personal account in case someone else is hosting the live stream and I'm coming in from my other account. I ran out of something to drink, so I'm just gonna talk my voice into oblivion. So I mean, if we have a public Discord, what would the incentive be for people to want to join our production Discord via Patreon if they can just talk in a public Discord?
It's to see what we're doing ahead of time. It's like backstage stuff. So as we throw lines into the production Discord, like, oh hey, here are my lines done, they can listen to it if they want, and they can kind of see the artwork early. Okay, so
instead of allowing them to interact in the production Discord, I would make the Patreon reward roles allow them to just see.
Exactly.
And maybe react. Maybe they can use the emoji to react and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you could still have a general chat for them just in case, like they want to chat about certain things. like about the recent post.
Or I can have a general for general discussion, and then a incorrect headcanon chat where they try to predict what's going to happen in the series. Totally stole that idea from East Corp. That's just I thought that was funny. Like, it's called incorrect headcanons chat. Like, I'm like, really, Skybolt?
I have to get going pretty soon here.
Okay, well, I mean, stop stealing from East Corp.
From Easy Corp.
I think you just misspelled East Corp. It's not stealing. That needs to be our motto. It's not stealing. It's just like I don't have anything else to compare to when I'm thinking about setting up certain things. So I go to East Corp, see what they did, and make something similar. It's not exactly like a point-to-point copy.
You're just heavily borrowing the idea.
I mean, I opened the first podcast saying, welcome back to the Break Room podcast. I mean, totally not a ripoff of the Break Room podcast. It's totally not where I got the idea to do a production podcast. But you can't say I'm directly ripping off East Corp with that one because production podcasts and podcasts in general are already a thing. So they don't own a copyright on it.
True enough.
I'm just... See, the person who's the part of me that's kind of anxious about things is worried about, like, well, now we have Cider Script on the crew. He's part of East Corp, and now what if he's watching this and reports back to East Corp that I'm like stealing from them? That's just the paranoid part of me. Or the fact that that there's a few people from the East Corp Discord that have actually subscribed to the channel. They'll probably see this video. Oh God. Oh dear Celestia, what have I done? I love putting my foot in my mouth.
Alrighty, I gotta get going.
Okay, I'll just carry the podcast until Chalkfee can figure out how to appear. Figure out how to apparate Chalkfee. I need the art bun.
Alrighty, well, thanks for inviting me.
Yep, you'll probably be on a majority of the podcast because you are kind of the main character.
True enough. Alrighty. Oh, have a good one.
Yep, bye.
See ya.
Okay, so I just need to ramble for a minute. I think I can do that. Wibbly wobbly bobbly bits. So, anybody watching this, any of the 3 people watching this, one of them is probably me, getting Fallout 76? Because I pre-ordered... okay, feel free, Chainlink 226. Feel free to ask questions. I will wait here in utter silence until you ask me a question. Well, the silence of the heater that's on that you probably can hear when I stop talking. Oh yeah, forest left, so rid of image 4 and transition. Okay, how often are we doing the podcast? Well, they will probably happen within a week of any releases on the channel. We released episode 1 of The Storyteller, a Fallout Equestria lore series on the 9th, and it is about a little less than a week later. I'm assuming people have watched a 7 or so minute episode of something in a week. We currently do not have any 4-hour long audio dramas like East Corp, so it's pretty easy to listen to. But yes, Chalkfee, who's in the chat currently, he said at least once a month, and that is what we'd like to do. I don't want to crowd our channel with podcasts, so officially we have one podcast, the Rad Meter podcast. Whether or not that happens every month is dependent on if people are available. The day changes vary. It depends on when people are available. The day and time will vary. Typically, I'll try to make it one of my days off, which, again, also vary. And the time of day will probably be around 1 or 2 p.m. EST. However, if, say, I really need a certain person to be on there, I might work around their schedule and schedule the podcast in, say, PST or MT or whatever. Storyteller. We're going to try to release one episode a month. There is 20 episodes planned for Volume 1, which is basically what I'm referring to as for Season 1. It's called Volumes instead of Seasons. I don't know. I felt like it. So we should get one released within the first week of every month. I can't guarantee we will hold to that, but that is the current plan. However, to not rush any other part of production, if, say, the background music is taking a bit longer, then there will be postponations. Maybe we'll get 2 episodes in a month if one is postponed from the previous month. And such. But for the most part, I can safely say at least one a month. I ramble, so that may have been long-winded. Okay, how long did you work on this to when you started working on... okay, how long did it take from planning to posting? Hold on, I gotta go to FilmFiction to get that accurate answer. Why do I have to go to FilmFiction? Because that's where I contacted Forrest for the very first time, so I still have a record of that. Would you like... Okay, back on... Where was it? December 2nd, 2017, I sent the following personal message to Forrest on FilmFiction. So I was inspired by a Fallout lore series that exists on YouTube called The Storyteller that is produced by Shoddycast. I think a similar series would work for Fallout Equestria. I was wondering if you would be the voice of the titular character, the Storyteller. He'd have another name, but use it as a moniker. He'd be a Steel Ranger / Applejack's Ranger, wandering the waste with a customized sprite bot, finding all the juicy and mysterious stories of the wasteland. I say it is an audio drama because the series that inspired this idea. There would also be a story of sorts the storyteller and his friends would have to deal with in the present. I'd write and direct, and you'd simply have to voice act. A friend of mine will edit. Well, actually, that changed. I'm actually the only editor currently. Although Forrest knows how to edit, and so does the voice actor who's voicing Megaspell. Friend of mine will edit. As far as whose channel will go on, I'm not sure yet. Since the idea is still in the planning. I got another email. Damn it. The idea is still in the planning phase. Interested? And he was. That was the end of 2017 was when I officially I have this idea. and then I signed on Forrest to it. That was it. Back then, it was just me, and stuff. Then I think I went through this in the first podcast. Who I ended up bringing on and why. But basically, very long-winded story short.
Hi.
Hi, Jockey.
I'm on a computer.
Woo. Anyways,
I'm back, baby.
very long-winded story short. If the idea was in the early stages of development in December 2017, and then hold on. Now I gotta see when I released the.
When did you get me into the thing? Because that wasn't too long ago.
That was the beginning of this year, I think. Maybe the end of last year.
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first?
It was before this, wasn't it?
It was before I think it was just in the early stages of the production Discord. Okay. And then until everything, the first casting call happened, and then like a bunch of postponations. Is that the right word? Of the prologue, but the prologue was finally released on May 9th, 2018, with the first episode finally becoming a thing on October 9th. So...
Oh, here's some beta art we could release at some point. The original logo I did.
I think I did release that. Anyways,
Yeah, I guess probably, but still, it was funny. You know, the one with the landmass.
So yeah, I guess Chainlink is correct. Yeah, it was almost a year of planning and worrying about if people will actually like it, finding people willing to work on it, and in some cases willing to work on it currently for free, or with the promise of future payment, like Chalk Fee. Chalk Fee? Chalk Fee?
I'm sorry, I was trying to be quiet because someone else is here talking to my cat, who is currently on top of a bookshelf he should not be on top of.
Okay, who's your favorite FOE character? Oh, that's a... should I count OCs I've created, or just within the Big Five fix?
Yes, count OCs you created. Who's my favorite FOE character? The storyteller. Next question.
No, I was gonna say Megaspell, but okay.
I kind of made Megaspell mostly. You just... Yeah, I like Megaspell. She's so cute.
I am definitely working towards for Hanukkah and maybe my birthday combined. I am definitely getting a plushie of Megaspell made that will actually glow in the dark.
I have no money, or I would do the same for my birthday and the solstice combined.
Well, I am the person who I've been in talks for it is Plushie Parlor, which you might know as the person who makes those little Lightning Bliss plushies that Lightning Bliss sells. So you never know. At some point in the future, we might also have Mega Spells for sale, but it is a fairly more complicated plushie than Lightning Bliss, because actually it probably is on the same scale of complex, because Lightning Bliss has a rainbow mane. Because what I described with the person, I think with Plushie Parlor, it would be, I think, about like $360, including like shipping and handling and all that kind of stuff. Which is,
I want a mini Megaspell.
You want a mini Megaspell? Anyways, so it would be like a bigger size plushie. So it would, I think every single exposed piece of bone would have to be designed and embroidered. She would have to, you're Can you stop typing for a second? And then, and also, the fabric for the exposed interior would be a simple, not fluffy, green glow-in-the-dark fabric, but apparently it costs a little more than your regular fabric. And then there'd be the cost of like glow-in-the-dark thread, and it would be doable. And Plushie Parlor loves making Fallout Equestria, plushies, and like I talked with her at BronyCon, and I've talked with her over DeviantArt, and she's all on board. She doesn't know if she'll have the time to add me to her list of plushies to be made, especially by the time I have the money. But I'm hoping by BronyCon to have a Megaspell plushie. It would also be nice to have a Storyteller plushie, but I don't know what he looks like outside of his armor.
No, it would have to be a Storyteller plushie inside the armor. And it'd be really, really cute. Because imagine a plush version of Power Armor.
I've seen it. I've seen Steelhooves plushies.
That sounds adorable. I want to hug it.
Anyways,
I want to hug it.
Okay, back to the question at Hoof. Who is your favorite FOE character? Okay, so I mean, obviously.
When did he say that? Because I don't see that, and I just see. Also, who will you guys be at cons? No. Will we have panels?
I'll get to that question in a second.
Where's the one that you're talking about? Because I don't... Oh, there it is. Huh.
I mean, Chainlink's currently our only viewer, so I mean, it's not too difficult to find the questions. Actually, there are 3 other people who are choosing not to interact in the chat. But one of those might just be you and Forrest, or people just... Or me... But I don't know how YouTube determines who counts as a watcher. But anyways.
The participants currently are you and Chainlink. So that's not useful.
Anyways. So I mean, obviously the main characters of the Big Fix, like Little Pip, is written in a way where you can basically be the character. She's never described. She's and like it's all told in first person, so you feel like you're a Little Pip.
I am Little Pip.
So obviously I can empathize with Little Pip. Again, Blackjack, a little hard to empathize with her because of coming from a stable that was a glorified rape factory. Is a little hard to empathize with.
If you say so.
I'm just gonna ignore your creepy if you say so, because yeah, you shouldn't empathize. I mean, empathizing with a rapist is kind of weird. And the weird part about Project Horizons is it does try to do that with both Blackjack.
Yep. At least he didn't knock up over the stuff at the top. Sorry.
It tries to empathize with both Blackjack, who has formerly been, because she's part of Stable 99, although she's better than most of the ponies in Stable 99. And also later in the story when they kind of give a redemption to Deus, aka spoiler alert, Doof. Like, he becomes a rapist and like is like a serial rapist and like an all-around bad pony, but still they try to redeem him. But it's okay
because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He doesn't know he's raping people.
At least the first time it happened, he didn't know he was until he found out after and wanted to apologize to Twist, but Twist wasn't having any of it.
God damn it, you stupid cat.
Okay, but anyways, I will say that I mean I like the main characters, even if Blackjack is a little hard to empathize with. a little bit. Puppy Smiles is the cutest abomination. Next to Megaspell is cuter than Puppy Smiles. I will say that now. I'm sorry, Puppy, but your throne has been taken over by Megaspell.
I think there's an even cuter Alicorn out there somewhere.
And
that's also an abomination.
I haven't read enough of Murky number 7 to know if I like Murky or not.
I have never read Murky, and that's why I'm trying to convince. Never mind.
And then what's another thing? And then Hired Gun. It's kind of a bitch, but she's
fun.
She's fun at least, and I definitely like Serenity better though.
I like the little filly.
And Flare. Flare is great. And then of my own created characters, obviously Megaspell and Storyteller are up there. There's a character who I can't share too much about, who's just like the epitome of contrivances. It's going to be the main character of another audio drama that's in the works. So I'm not going to talk about him.
How about your version of Screw Loose?
My version of Screw Loose is I'd say that I liked my version of Screw Loose and her sister Shoeshine.
Screw Loose is cute.
The Cortexiphan ghoul Screw Loose was kind of cool.
Don't worry about it, Shane. It's okay. You don't have to know what we're talking about.
Go to FimFiction and search Fallout Equestria unscrewed audio files, or you can go to Forrest's channel. I believe it is linked in the iCards as well as possibly the description. I don't know. I don't remember. And he has a reading of that fic on his channel. Also, the current main character of my current fics, Hold the Pineapple. His name is Pineapple Calzone. He's a great character.
I love the calzones. They're just silly.
And then
Red Scorpion Calzone.
That's a character that's in that's going to be that's the later character. Hashtag spoilers.
Spoilers.
There's a lot of characters. Okay, I guess the favorite characters from things that aren't mine: Little Pip, Blackjack, Puppy Smiles, like the main characters.
Main characters don't count.
Main characters don't count.
Favorite non-main character from the main 5 fics.
Ditsy Doo.
Now. Okay.
Because she's in all of them.
Is she in that one?
She might not be in Murky number 7 because that takes place.
I haven't seen Murky, but is she in whatchamacallit? In Dice.
Referenced. Anytime that the Wasteland Survival Guide is mentioned, you can count that as Ditsy Doo being in that story.
Oh, fine. That's cheating. Because she's physically in several of the other ones. For like a hot second. Actually, I don't think she's even in Pink Eyes.
Actually, another interesting character it only makes sense if you read a certain group of stories because the character kind of is a connecting element between all of those. In Gamma Decay's series of stories from let's see where did it started with, not counting monsters, even though that's where it started. In what was it? Merchants of Hope. Long Winter, Better Days, and whatever they're currently on. There's this one glowing ghoul character who randomly shows up in all the stories. It's basically a self-insert of Gamma Decay's OC, but it's just great. You have this random scene in every single story where this ghoul shows up, at least 2 scenes, where he always gives them some advice and some random object that may or may not help them.
Okay, Tomek. All right. Let's move on to the other questions because we got 3 now.
Okay. Are you guys doing any panels? I'm going to submit one for Horses at Home Con and BronyCon. However, if the same thing happens like last year, I'll probably get denied from Horses at Home Con because East Corp might have a panel and they'd like to have only one panel on a single subject. I
have suggested that we sneak into their panel and take it over for 5 seconds.
I'm also for Horses at Home Con. I'm definitely gonna have my comic book discussion panel, so at least I'll have a panel at Horses at HomeCon. And then BronyCon, I want to try to at least get the Rad Meter podcast and maybe make it a special release of next August's or July's episode of The Storyteller at BronyCon.
We will either have a panel there or we may have a booth.
Yeah.
We're trying to work on that. The problem with that is that if we have a booth and nothing to sell, it's just a waste of like $700.
Yeah, but I do think the booth is probably more likely to happen than say a panel.
Yeah, you just need to
I was listening to the Break Room podcast, and Skybolt is not a huge fan of Baltimore being the location of BronyCon. So
well, he must be happy that it's no longer gonna be BronyCon.
Okay,
Have fun.
I would like to say that so previously BronyCon was essentially fair game for any other audio drama producers in the Fallout Equestria universe to have a presence, because East Corp didn't really have a presence at BronyCon. However, I was listening to the podcast, and because it's the final BronyCon, he'll probably submit a panel. And so I'm hoping we can still get a panel. BronyCon has had multiple panels on a similar subject before, especially if
no shit.
There's like 7 analysis panels. Anyways,
there are at least 5. I know that because I missed 3 of them.
But basically, I might try to. So East Corp whenever East Corp does a panel, and I'm not again. I keep track of these things because I want to know what what people are up to, so I know I have a chance at something.
Yes, submit it first. Because that's going to get us the thing with our 90 subscribers, 93.
Okay, whenever East Corp submits a panel, their panel is not about East Corp. It becomes about East Corp, like about what they talk about on the panel, but they try to frame their panels as being writing Fallout Equestria audio dramas, or how to write audio dramas, or Fallout Equestria lore. They don't specifically make it just about East Corp.
And we'll just make a panel, be like, hey, we're going to do this. Ramble for 2 hours about nothing. And then I'm going to sit back, and with I'm going to talk, and Cool Man Stan will not talk, and a couple other people won't talk, and then you'll talk. And
but
that'll be the panel. It'll be you talking, and then me talking, and then you talking for the rest of the panel.
So basically what I'm saying is, so even if I'm assuming East Corp will probably, and this is just me assuming, just like to assume, make an ass out of you and me, but I'm assuming if East Corp has a panel,
So it makes an ass out of you and Ming. And what did you ever do to Ming?
Anyways, that they might release, they might show an early episode of like Wasteland Survival Guide, or a snippet of Confessions. They usually are like 4-hour long things, so they're not gonna show the whole Confessions of a Wasteland Pony. They might talk about their podcast, maybe Untypical, but they might frame it. They're probably going to frame it more as a audio drama making like a Fallout Equestria audio drama panel versus a East Corp only audio drama panel.
Well, then maybe we could get on that panel too.
So I will likely submit something specifically about releasing an episode on our panel, or like the Rad Meter podcast or something. And so hopefully
maybe we could sneak you onto their panel, and then make it so that you'll talk the entire time, and then keep on advertising us for like an hour.
No.
And
however, I'm especially because East Corp does seem pretty open to like helping us out. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, again, no one was there then besides me and Forrest.
I heard it.
That there was when I shared the link to the first episode in East Corp's server, Skybolt, like, you offer, like, if you needed any voice actors or cameos, and like, I mean, I'd be happy with that. Thank you for the offer.
Anyway,
so maybe I could go to like Skybolt or James Vermont and say, hey, maybe we could do a combined panel at BronyCon. especially because like Skybolt didn't typically go to BronyCon, so like
Well, we'll see how long that panel turns out to be because this podcast is already 3 hours. 2 hours.
I reiterate things multiple fucking times. It's really annoying. I need to get better.
Now, one last question from Cheney, who may or may not still be listening. I hope you are.
We have 5 people watching now, so
maybe he is. One last question that I see is about something that I actually know about.
Do you guys
play the
Fallout Equestria tabletop RPG game?
I do, but I play what is okay. So here's the thing about the Fallout Equestria PNP. There are like 7 of them. I know of at least 3 that have been made in tandem and sort of work together. I currently play what is basically a Pathfinder version of that because me and my friends have modded it so much and added so many things that it's basically a different game. And in a writers group, I know of several people who are trying to build their own RP system for it. But in short, for the one that you're probably talking about, which is the main one, not the one that KCAT actually officiated, but I think the earlier one that she... It's complicated, but yes.
Is KCAT a guy or a girl? I actually don't know.
Nobody knows.
Like, I know Somber...
Nobody remembers. Like, it keeps on being mentioned by people, but nobody remembers.
Somber is definitely a guy. You can refer to Somber as a him, I'm pretty sure. But I don't want to assume... I don't want to assume genders.
I do always assume KCAT is a girl for some reason.
That's why when I talk about KCAT, I refer to them as they, them. Just so I'm not...
Yeah. It's funny, though. Anyway.
I mean, I would... Somber is a guy.
Oh,
thank you.
Speaking of...
Thank you for the confirmation.
The tabletop game. Wait, what?
It would be if I decide to make this like server, either open the Patreon to have the ability to have the Patreon server, or make a make a public server. We might have a like game night where we try to do a Fallout Equestria roleplay game thing.
Well, if we ever want to revive that under that name rather than the other name, I would...
I know what you're talking about. I don't know if Chaotic will ever come back, but I'd like it to if it could. Okay, speak.
I have been considering, and I've offered, to run a game, not on Chaotic Loathful, because I know you want to run the next one. Run a game of the Fallout Equestria pen and paper game, probably the version I know the best, but maybe one of the previous editions of it or whatever that's more simplified.
I would like to point out it's difficult enough to get people available for a podcast, let alone get them together for a D&D.
Playing D&D is easy. I play D&D like 5 times a week. Sort of. Not really. But still, I play D&D once a week, and then I play the Fallout Equestria PNP twice a week, and then I play 3 different Fate RPs online. And hello. That's actually up to you, Comic.
Okay, so yeah, it's like I've described the various bits and pieces of Applewood, and Applewood isn't a world. It's a region of the wasteland, which is mostly devoid of DJ Pwn 3's influence because the MAS EBS tower was never finished out in the area. So,
wait. If I were you... I misread this.
There's at least 1 or 2 towers in the area that are half complete. If you go to those towers and go to the base station, you can directly contact DJ Pwn 3 in the studio.
I misread this. Okay, if I were you, I would use the world of Applewood for a group select to viewer fans, what have you. That way, reward your fans and still build your world. So, like... This was sort of a thing that came up, actually. Like, one of the tiers of rewards that we were considering.
Hold on, actually, okay. I mean, everything could change. Nothing's confirmed.
Yes, nothing's set in stone.
But let me I can actually
Okay, you can make your.
let me bring up the where the fuck did I put the link? There it is.
Anyway, but one of the levels of rewards we were thinking about was making a how should I put it? Sort of a
Euro C Falloutified.
yeah, I'm trying to put it in a more like a less silly way than that. No,
Our concept artist Chalk Fee will draw Euro C or any character you want, as they would exist in the Fallout Equestria universe. And there's other stipulations.
Anyway.
There's other stipulations about that idea. Like you have to have the reward for a certain amount of time. If you have it for another certain amount of time, you get a second drawing. It's in the works.
but the idea I would say we could make it to be a you could call it Applewood friendly. No, an Applewood friendly OC so that it could exist within the world, not of the story that we're actually playing, but the meta story of the studio that's recording.
I would like to point out that I haven't directly made reference to Nuclear Horseman Studios. It was more of a retroactive reference, actually, where I mention an audiobook of Little Pip's story was made by some ponies who out in the old Applewood studios. Heavily referencing our series as being that series, even though we don't have an audiobook of the Fallout Equestria series. But
that's silly.
It was a double.
You're silly.
It was a double reference. It hasn't happened yet. It happens in the episode about the Ministry of Awesome. I'll get to it. It's like
how long from now is the Ministry of Awesome? Because we're not even to the Ministry of
Image. I think it's the 4th episode.
The Ministry of Awesome should be the last Ministry episode.
No, it's the 4th episode.
That's silly. Because the Ministry of Awesome, nobody knows about it. How does the storyteller even know about it?
He knows. He's very good.
He read the original fic. Okay.
He's very good at finding lore.
Hey, look, it's the storyteller. The reason the storyteller knows all the information he does is because he listened to Fallout Equestria the first time on the radio.
Well, he does.
He probably did.
I do have him commonly referred to as either the Lightbringer's story, the story, or the Book of Little Pip. Like he'll refer to it by its proper name. But he's also
probably did listen to it when it first
was
released.
Did read it. He probably owns a copy of it.
Probably owns a copy of every one that's.
Well, to be fair, the Fallout Equestria story has an in-universe name, the Book of Little Pip, or is it Fallout Equestria? According to, I think it's both. Like the Book of Little Pip,
it's
Fallout Equestria.
Complicated. It doesn't matter.
But basically, Blackjack is just. Who is she talking to? Who is she telling her story to? I
don't know because I haven't read the last half of that goddamn book because it's so long.
No, all I'm saying is because it's told in first person with the occasional third person because of plot reasons.
It's 72 chapters long, man.
But
it's long.
But Little Pip, the premise of the story is that she's recording her memories before she goes into the SPP.
Her memories. She's recording her memories.
Yeah. Before she goes into the memories. Blackjack is just telling her story. Like there's somebody listening. Who? I don't know. Maybe Spike?
I gotta stop laughing like that. I'm starting to turn more and more into Aeon.
But anyways, I think I've got... Okay, so,
I think...
That's a good point. Maybe Blackjack is explaining her story to the Lightbringer. However, in the epilogue of Project Horizons, it's shown that a descendant of Blackjack is actually regaling this story to a group of wasteland travelers.
Oh, is that where you got your tropes from?
Consistent of hell dogs, a less ferocious looking version of hellhounds, some alicorns, some people from the NCR, and the New Lunar Commonwealth. So it's possible that Blackjack's story was just told through word of mouth.
Yes, and that's why Blackjack's story, we don't have to pay attention to the lore from it as long as we want to.
Oh, don't worry. Volume 2 will cover Hoofington. Originally, I had a one episode thing for Hoofington, but I might actually have to make it the first 2-parter episode. Because there's so much with Hoofington. There's Hoofington pre-war, Hoofington war, Hoofington post-apocalypse, pre-Blackjack, and Hoofington post-Blackjack.
And then all the stuff about, and then you gotta go into Project Horizons and all that bullshit. And that entire story has so much stuff that I don't like. Well, okay, one thing I don't like. I don't like what they did to Discord.
Apparently, it was. I actually like what they did to Discord.
I think Discord should have, like, parts. I like the original idea that people had where he got blown up. Because that would be why there was, like, a tiny Discord putting caps in all of the trash cans.
Actually, I was. That was actually kind of fun. That was kind of a funny concept but it was never officially confirmed in Sombra's story.
No, but I like it.
I like it could still be a thing. Discord is like, he's a spirit. Can spirits really die?
But it's not that he's dead. It's that he got drained of all of his magic and got stuck in a place for 200 years rather than getting blown up.
Well, he did die, actually. Spoiler alert, you really should read Project Horizons.
Why do I have to read this stupid story?
Okay, so basically, after they save Discord...
Sombra, I'm sorry. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry, but I don't like it that much.
After they save Discord from Project Horizons...
Sombra's not going to be listening to our podcast.
After they save Discord from Project Chimera, not Horizon, sorry, Discord is trying to regain his strength by hiding out inside of Boo's head. Which Boo is kind of his daughter, because she's cloned from his blood, so... And she's growing a soul, so...
You made that sound weird. The way you said that she's kind of his daughter, you made it sound weird.
I mean...
You just did.
It's a clone of a pony made from Discord's blood. It's, genetically speaking, related to Discord.
It still sounds weird.
Anyways, as of the epilogue, we have Boo is now the new mysterious Ne'er-do-well, and she's shown to have starting to grow the dual horns that Discord has, and over time, all the blanks that exist over time have slowly been showing attributes of Discord, and Discord thinks that Boo might even eventually become a new avatar of chaos. A good avatar of chaos, because she likes to follow Blackjack's example, but
I think I am a better avatar of chaos, thank you very much.
But also at the same time, since Discord exists in Zebra lore as among their pantheon of spirits...
Damn it, why can't I be the one streaming? If I was the one streaming, I would have turned you into a frog.
Can Discord really die if he is a spirit? Can spirits die? I'd have to ask Somber about that, really.
No, and just never mind. It's complicated.
Anyways, back to Chainlink's suggestion. We could, if we do make either a public or a private Discord relating to our series, there probably would be a roleplay chat, maybe involving our version of Applewood. So,
Yes, and that's how slowly Applewood becomes a center of the new world, and Applewood becomes one of the most important places, all surrounding the extremely radioactive bomb crater where we live.
No, we live a couple miles away from a crater, but still within the radiation zone. And I mean, Gardens of Equestria would have purged the radiation anyways.
Gardens of Equestria couldn't purge us, because if Gardens of Equestria purged us, we wouldn't have it.
You're right. The MAS EBS towers weren't completed for Applewood, so Applewood is still radioactive. I forgot about that.
Oh my god, I just realized that would make Applewood a place where a lot of ghouls would settle after the thing.
I forgot that I decided to make another DJ in the area. So
that would be a thing. That would be a thing. Applewood would totally during our time, after Gardens of Equestria was activated, ghouls would start to settle there.
Yeah, and then there's another story that has a city where for some reason it wasn't purged of taint radiation, which I think they just wanted to set it post sunshine and rainbows, but still have taint
sunshine and rainbows.
So like it's just weird, like apparently even though Gardens went off, this city is still wrecked by the horrors of war. I'm like, then why not set your story before Gardens goes off? I have a more legit reason, because there's so many MAS EBS towers being built that they never completed the ones that are built in Applewood. They're just the base station, which means you can contact 10 Pony Tower directly, but you can't. You can't broadcast the DJ signal or control the weather.
Comic, I forget. Is your other chat open for people?
The Comic Sans and Co.
Yeah.
No, that one's also a Patreon.
But nobody actually tried to Patreon for it.
Not true. I have one.
And yet, there's one person with all of your friends, and then the rest of us who play Minecraft.
Pretty much.
When are you going to reopen the Minecraft thing? Never mind.
All I have
You know what we need to do? We need to do a Nuclear Horseman Studios Minecraft series.
All I have to do, really, is just start paying for Minecraft Realms again. It'll be back open.
Here's the thing: we should not do Minecraft Realms.
It's easier than hosting a personal server.
You can pay other people to host a personal server, and if you do that, you can have mods.
If we had a NHS, I would have to go in and like painstakingly build a studio lot.
I could help with that. It's not important. It would but that's the thing. That could be the story. That could be the game. We could just build it in universe by building the entirety of Applewood in the Minecraft game, and then hitting it with nukes.
By building Hollywood, really?
Yes, and then hit it with nukes.
We'll have to make like a cave to like the Nether inside the behind the Applewood sign. That'll be our Nether portal.
Think about it though. If we had, it doesn't matter what kind of server, whether it's that or just a random other thing, doing it on a privately hosted, not us hosted, but privately hosted rather than Realms, is more fun because mods are better.
I guess, but
we could do Nuclear Craft. You don't know what that is, do you?
I'm assuming it's like Tekken or something, like whatever the mod is that involves like nuclear bombs. Do you not like Tekken?
You don't know what you're talking about. I love it. I know more than you. Yay.
I'm aware.
Tekken is a mod pack, and it isn't really updated much anymore. Feed the Beast mod packs are in right now, and they're the ones used the most. And they kind of work better, but you have to use Twitch, or at least I have to use Twitch for them to work properly. It's complicated. God damn it, mosquito.
I would. I mean, you see, like the reason why again I looked at the closest to the kind of setup for our channel and other stuff that I want that would be the closest to what we're doing, and that's East Corp. It's the only one I can actually look at, which is why I've mirrored a lot of things that they're doing. But maybe having a public Discord would be better with like Patreon rewards gaining more access to that Discord.
Also a fancy rank. Every Patreon reward requires a fancy rank in the Discord server.
I'm pretty sure I already have that set up. Well, actually no. I have. There's three main ranks. There's tourist VIPs and executive producer. To be fair, you have to give us $1,000 to be an executive producer. Which that's the joke tier. I'm not expecting anyone to take that one.
At that point, do they actually become the executive producer and just control everything we do?
Executive producers don't always. They more often than not.
Though.
They're more often than not just are the main financial backing for something. So that's the definition I'm going with. I might maybe make it so they can include their OC in something or whatever. Like, again, all our Patreon stuff is in the works, and I don't know if any of this will be in the final version. We are not officially releasing.
Disclaiming stuff. It's not important.
Who's going to listen to a almost 3-hour podcast for this information, really?
We should stop, shouldn't we? Hey, Chain, should we stop? Yes, if they're paying $1,000, they bought us out. If they pay $1,000 a month, they buy us out. It's fine. I'm okay with that.
They won't have creative control, but they will definitely have some influence.
No, they have complete creative control. They can do whatever they want. They can make me put dicks on all the characters. I'm okay with that.
No. We are not making Megaspell a Fuda. We are not doing that.
Yes. Let's. I want to.
No,
I have to draw that fan art.
You are not making Fuda Megaspell. She's too much of an innocent cinnamon roll for that.
Do horses have phones?
Oh my god, you pervert! I'm gonna have to open a not safe for work chat on our server, aren't I?
I already said yes.
You know what? Much like how Needle Stitch was the one who created the not created, but was included. Her name is included in the name of the not safe for work chat in East Corp. If I make one for NHS, it's gonna be like it's gonna have a reference to you specifically. like Bun Secret Stash or something.
God damn it, I need to work on my evil laughter. No, that's horrible. You know who does a great evil laugh?
I don't know dreams.
What's his face?
Oh, how old is everyone? I can understand the question because I probably sound like a young female over this.
Yes, you sound like an 8-year-old. It's fine. He's older than me.
I'm 23.
I'm 19, and I think the youngest person on this team.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm the youngest person on NHS right now.
Most people in NHS are somewhere in their 20s. I
You're not the only writer. Ivory Jide is a writer.
Hmm?
You said earlier in the podcast that you were the only writer. What about Ivory?
You're the lyricist. You write you. Oh, and wait, what?
Ivory's a writer. You
Oh,
forgot about
no,
him
no.
earlier.
I mentioned Ivory. I just said that he's busy with school, so I'm basically the only writer.
No, you said you were the only writer and the only person in this chat. You did earlier in the podcast.
But I still
Shane, back me up.
I still mentioned he wasn't there then. I still mentioned no. Okay.
Look at chat. Look at chat. Read it. Second from the bottom.
How old is everyone?
No, before that though. Read that.
Food and Megaspell would sell.
On a docky. Megaspell docky. We need a Megaspell docky now.
We need to have.
We do need a Megaspell
It
docky.
would definitely be as a joke. It would probably be like a
Come
one
Kate,
time.
the
Like,
KP docky where she's snuggling a Discord docky sold. Remember that? That sold. A Megaspell docky would sell.
yes, but we have to find a way to make a long ass body pillow. You'd have to draw.
There are people who specifically make those.
You'd have to draw a Megaspell for both sides of that pillow that is a little more, maybe a scotch more detailed than the Megaspell drawing you have.
A scotch? You mean more detailed than her hair being 4 curved lines?
Yes. Maybe like a bedhead Megaspell or something like that, where she's like more messy hair.
I don't know if I would be able to draw that, but that would have a lot of fluff. That's what it would be.
Why am I actually like designing this character? Bedhead Megaspell.
Come on, no, seriously, Megaspell docky would be amazing. We could hang it from the booth like chain link says.
And it could be like a special thing, like we could have like remember when like Lightning Bliss did like the auctioning of like a giant twink plushie? We could kind of do it like that. It wouldn't be like a one time like people could like bid on it. That would be kind of cool.
I mean, yeah, but also Dusky Cat sold like 20 of them, so Dusky Cat sold like a bunch of Dusky Cat dockies at BC.
Then okay, we need to.
Do you remember that being a thing?
I do.
I just remembered that. That was funny.
What we need to do is we would need to contact someone who, no offense to your art, who could draw the paint me like one of your French mares. Pose and then buy a docky. You really freaking want a body pillow of Megaspell. She gives off less than one. She gives off like 2 rads per second when you're nearby her.
Oh my god! The top part, the top little corner of it has to say +1 rads per second or something like that. Like have the screen, and it just like has the bit that says +1 rads per second in the top corner of the.
I think the more excited she is, the more radiation she gives off. So maybe it would be like 10 rads per second or more at that point. By the time she's on a freaking Dakimakura, you weirdo.
+10 rads per second.
But
it would be so cute in the corner to have a plus rads per second thing. Come on, that would be adorable.
You know how most dockies are like on like a white...
No, and it would be more rads when you turn it over. It would say more rads when she's turned over.
Okay, so you know how most dockies are put on like a white background? We could put it on like a slightly dark, like a green background, or like she's giving off radiation.
That would take a lot more printing.
It would. That's why they use the white backgrounds.
Custom Dakimakura. $50. Sorry, I am a bad person. I was looking it up.
Okay, see that... Okay, well, we'll definitely talk outside of the podcast about whether or not we should have a public server and a private server.
We definitely will.
And I guess I could open a subreddit. Apparently, I have enough karma to do so. Even though my
Go ahead.
my account is less than 30 days old, which usually 30 days is a requirement.
Doesn't matter.
And also, we gained a new subscriber, I think.
Come on.
Yep, Nuclear Horseman
All right.
Studios. Hey, Freykin just subscribed to us.
Yes, please, Mr. Chainlink, subscribe to us.
Well,
You one person that...
Chainlink might already be subscribed. That's how he was here, unless he came from like one of my Discord chats that I linked this thing to.
I was guessing one of those since it wasn't... Let's see, Mr. Chainlink, you make Halo videos. No. No, wait, you just watch a bunch of Halo videos.
He was already subscribed.
You made videos 5 years ago.
Stop
About
cyber stalking
people-
him.
About Fallout 4, Trixie,
Hey,
and
don't
Kingdom
don't
Hearts.
cyber stalk our fans, Chalkfee. That's weird.
It's public information. All I had to do was click it.
My dark
Subscribe to
fans.
Shoddycast. Of course you're subscribed to Shoddycast. That makes sense. Not that there's gonna be a storyteller anymore.
If there is, Austin's gonna put it on like a separate channel.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I just, eh.
I wish they made the movie. Personally.
Yeah, but that was you gotta admit, that was a poor planned idea in the
Yeah.
first place.
See, if I were to make a public Discord, would I have to make an announcement video on it and post it to the channel? And if we make a public Discord, you run the risk of someone like some bunch of trolls getting in there.
If the trolls get in, we just ban them. It's pretty easy. You can permaban people on Discord.
Well, also, I don't know if everyone who's currently in the NHS server would bother going over to a fan server.
I probably wouldn't, because I have 33 servers right now on my...
Which is
I
why
have too many servers,
which is
because
why
I have like
I would
20
just,
dead ones.
which is why I would rather just open up like half of the.
Yeah, but then it's not... I feel like it would be more annoying if they were in our server without paying for it. And yeah. Okay.
So I mean, I'll definitely. I guess I will.
I guarantee you're not popular enough to get trolls. Thank you, Chain. Thank you for that word of encouragement. All right, we're going to go on that note.
Yeah, I don't.
So
I don't
thank
have,
you,
I don't
Shane,
have much,
and thank you everybody else who was watching for these 3 hours. All none of you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.
Yeah, that one.
Heart to you too, Chain.
Bye.